All right, let's talk about the top 5 final expense telesales carriers for 2024. If you're wanting to sell final expense over the phone or currently selling final expense over the phone, you have to watch this video. I'm going to talk about great carriers we're using at the Dig Agency that are making a huge impact for our telesales agents, and you're going to want to learn how to get these carriers and employ them in your own business so you can see more success selling final expense over the phone. So the first carrier on my list is, drum roll please, SBLI. This is a newer carrier that's been around approximately a year, and I absolutely love it for our final expense telesales agents. Here's a couple of reasons why I think every agent selling over the phone in the final expense space should have SBLI. Number one is that it has a 90% approval rate. Now this is imperative because if you're going to sell over the phone successfully, the last thing you want to use is a carrier that maybe a half the time or even 2/3 of the time accepts the policies that you try to get them approval for. Because when you don't get policies accepted, guess what? When you sell over the phone, you're likely going to lose the sale and not make money. This is where SBLI comes in, and they're genius at it. Right now, last I looked, we're at a 90% or more actual approvable placement rate, which means more of our sales actually turn into money, and we don't have to worry about converting those people to buying a different kind of policies where you see a lot of the drop off with those carriers that don't have a high approval rating. The other thing that I really like about them is they finally have instituted a Social Security deposit billing draft. Now, what is this in case you don't know? This is taking the money on the exact deposit date that Mildred gets her check every month from Uncle Sugar. In other words, if it's the first third of the month, sometimes it falls on a weekend. Mildred gets paid on Friday, and if we set it up for, say, the third of the month as opposed to a Social Security deposit billing, we have to take the money out on that Monday. They've had that full weekend to blow it on booze, smokes, and not have any money left over, right? You guys know what I'm talking about if you don't use Social Security deposit billing. But what SBLI does is they time the draft to the actual date that the money hits the person's account. So this increases your keep rate, your persistency. You have less lapses, in other words, and this is huge, and I believe an absolute requirement if you are using any kind of core carrier. A couple other things I like about SBLI is they have also a text to sign process. Very easy to do. You do not want to do, God forbid, an e-app process selling over the phone. This keeps it short, simple, easy to do. Also, a couple other things. They do have, I call it the, I don't know how to spell Sequoia, so all you grammar Nazis, just give me a break here. Sequoia is a funeral concierge program. If you're an agent that likes to sell something like Lincoln Heritage Funeral Consumer Guardian Program or Senior Life Legacy Assurance Program, this is a great program that'll help drive down the cost of the funeral. It gives you that little sizzle to the steak, like I'm saying. And then another thing, of course, too, is their prices are very competitive. They are in range with Mutual of Omaha pricing. Very important to make sure the business that you place sticks because of its competitiveness. So the second carrier that we're having just awesome results with, getting business placed that we otherwise wouldn't get, is a company called Seika. Now, if you pull this up in insurance toolkits, you may see them as Superior Choice. You may see them also as, I think like Citizens is what they may also list at. Here's why I love Seika. The big thing is they are the king of the niche, right? So what I see, and the reason why we at the Dig Agency picked up Seika, the stuff that they cover, no other carrier would ever issue as first day full coverage. I'll give you a couple of instances of where this is, and this is gonna blow your mind, but it's legit as far as where these people, our clients now can get first day full coverage through Seika. So congestive heart failure, cancer. They're literally walking out of the cancer ward, just cleared and cured of their cancer. You bum rush them and you can close them first day full coverage with Seika. Also dialysis. Who gives people on dialysis first day coverage? Nobody but Seika. And then also oxygen. Mildred's using oxygen, usually to your weight, but not with Seika. That's pretty cool. This is the king of the niche. You can see why I said this. This is going to give more first day full coverage to your client than you could ever have if you didn't have this, which means you're gonna max out your commission and just close more because of it. And they pay great commission. It's not like some really low amount of commission that you might expect. So you're not just going to get placements, you're also going to get paid well for it as well. They also do a GI that's 0 to 85. Those of you that really liked Sons of Norway, this product now fills that gap because Sons of Norway was doing a 0 to 85, but they got out of the final expense space temporarily. But now Sika does 0 to 85, so you can use them for that. And then the nice thing about them, and this is back to the telesales game, is that there is no MIB or RX check. And I know some of you are like, well, you mean if the client answers everything no, that they get approved? Yeah. And here's the thing. With Sika, we're one of the few organizations that have a top level contract with them because Sika wants to work with companies like the Dig Agency that isn't just going to write a bunch of trash on their clients like so many of these 3-letter IMOs do. We don't want the 3-letter IMO agents, nor does Sika, because of all the chargeback issues and the fraud issues. Instead, what Sika wants are agencies like ours that actually care about our clients and our agents to train them well enough to make sure what is being sold is legit and honest. So understand that is why that no MIB or prescription check is there and why we have access to them, because that's so important to make sure you're working with an honest agency. But the thing here is that, to kind of read through the text here, is that bottom line, it's 100% approval rate, right? And again, with telesales, guys, the best carriers have high approval rates. And with Sika, if everything's honest, it's 100% of the time going to be approved as applied for, and you can't beat that. Now, another carrier I really like also that is also very good with niches is American Home Life. I'm just gonna label them as AHL for short. Why do I like them? COPD, first day coverage, diabetic neuropathy, first day full coverage with their GuideStar product. They're very much like Aetna. So as far as their underwriting process, they actually use for their Patriot product the same product chassis as Aetna. But one of the things that I like about American Home Life that they do differently is that they help get you clarification if the policy is going to likely be approved or not in the process of submitting an application. So whereas with Aetna, you might get half of your applications approved, which is wild, and why would you want to sell like that? With American Home Life, that approval rate is a lot higher. So I feel more comfortable offering a product like American Home Life's version instead of Aetna's version of product because of this approval. Again, approval is everything. It doesn't matter how good it looks on paper. If you can't get the thing approved, you're not going to get your client coverage and you're not going to make money either. And that is super important if you're selling over the phone. Number 4 on the list here is Prosperity. I really like Prosperity. I've used them for many years now. They've been one of our go-to companies, just a great all-around carrier. Some benefits of Prosperity: they're a good middle of the way pricing. They're not too high on pricing, they're not too low, but agents use them because they're really easy to use. They actually pay full advancing on direct express business. That is absolutely huge. You don't see that a lot from many companies. They have a text assign option, which makes it really easy to get an approval from your client. They also pay great bonuses quarterly. They actually don't do one of the exotic trips like a lot of other carriers do, but instead, I believe it's $25,000 per quarter. Issue paid, they'll give you 10% of that every calendar quarter or thereabouts as a bonus, just to say thank you. So you have the ability to take your product and add 10% more commission on top of it if you hit their metrics. And there's a scale of increasing bonuses if you hit the bonus consecutively quarter after quarter after quarter. And the 5th one on the list here, also a personal favorite of mine, is the company Trinity, or it may be called Family Benefit in your neck of the woods. So why do I like this company? Well, one of the things I always think as a telesales agent you need is a price buster. You're going to talk to clients that, guess what? They've got a policy already and they think that they're happy with it, but what they don't know is they're getting ripped off on price. Or where Trinity comes in many cases is that you're able to get your policyholder better coverage at a better price. So with Trinity, one of the things with them is they are a price buster. They're more competitive than Mutual of Omaha. They're easier to use over the phone than Mutual of Omaha for sure. And what you're going to find, along with it being a low price leader in the final expense telesale space, is that persistency is king, is awesome. In other words, our agency with Trinity Family Benefit, it has a persistency of 94%, 94%. And what that means if you're new to the final expense business, as a side note, it's not what you sell, it's what you keep in this business. In other words, you want to sell policy so that it stays, because the policy that stays is what pays you your commission, and it pays the beneficiary if the client dies, right? And so we want companies that give good value in pricing. And so with Trinity, we have a 93 to 94 first year persistency. That means out of every 100 policies we write, fast forward 12 months, 93 to 94 are still on the books. That's incredible when the average in the business is probably closer to 80%. Some companies are even happy with like 70%. So the point is there's a peace of mind that comes from writing Trinity and Family Benefit because it's so competitively priced. The business is much more likely going to stick because of that. Other things I like about Trinity Family Benefit, they do have a trip that they go on every year. They're very well put together. You don't have to pay or get a 1099 on the trip to pay for taxes, unlike pretty much every other carrier as well. And then also they have a lead bonus. So every $5,000 in premium that you write every month, above that you get a 5% lead bonus that you can apply in any lead program, including the DIG agency's lead program. So if you write $10,000 a month with Trinity, they're gonna cut you a check for 5% of that, which would be $500, and you can spend that on whatever you want. And there's no chargebacks with that either. So it actually inflates your commission higher than where it is normally at, which is also always a good thing. So what do you think about these 5 carriers? Do you like them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Feel free to say so below. We'd love to hear your thoughts, especially if you're already writing them, to help the new agents out there bolster what I'm saying about how all of these carriers are great to use. Also, consider subscribing and liking if you haven't already. And last but not least, if you're an agent that likes any of these carriers we talked about, if you're with one of those 3-letter IMOs and you're sick and tired of how they run things, and maybe you're worried about making a change, you likely don't have most of these companies. And all you need is just a few of these to be successful. So if you want to join an agency like the DIG agency, you can with these carriers. All you got to do is go to davidduford.com to learn more about how our agency works. This is also an offer to those of you out there who are looking for a home to sell final expense. We specialize in final expense telesales and final expense in-person sales too. And for telesales, you can either do your own lead purchases, or we have an awesome free lead program that can get you high quality, exclusive, fresh leads never resold that we develop in our proprietary program at absolutely no cost to you. Again, go to davidduford.com to learn more. I recommend going to the Q&A call to sit in on a daily Q&A call to ask questions, learn more, and then when you're ready, click the apply button if you would like to apply to join the DIG agency. Thank you so much.